Hello gamers! Today a YouTube video on the kind of changes that Wargaming announced for 2023, the future of World of Tanks. We're gonna watch the video together. I watched it on stream already, but I know I'm gonna get a lot of questions about it. We'll talk about some of the main aspects of it and what it means. That way you get all the kind of information that you may want, and which means that I don't have to get asked about it again. It's a win-win for everybody. It's more of an informational video, but anyways, let's get in it. So this is about the current arcade mode that we're getting in WorldofTanks that is coming up, the Ice Age one. We'll have to see how it goes still. It looks promising, but if it's going to deliver is a different thing. I can tell you that the Snowballs one is not that fun for me personally so far. Maybe you guys disagree. Let me know. I played like one game of it. I was like, okay, and moved on. Steel Hunter returning. I think it's fine. There's people that like it, there's people that don't like it. It's not for everybody, which not every event will be at the end of the day. Not everybody's gonna like Steel Hunter, not everybody's gonna like Murney, not everybody's gonna like Onslaught. This is the way it is. This is Steel Hunter Reborn, apparently. This is with bots and respawns. I mean, it sounds interesting, like kind of a PvE mode, I guess. I'm not sure. We'd have to see the details of it. It might be interesting. Maybe it's more laid back and casual, which I think many people would like or will like. So, in all, it's a good thing overall, I guess. Um, Onslaught news season. I guess this depends. In this entire video, I didn't see anything about ranked. I don't know if they're still going to do ranked. It's a question that comes up very often. I think Onslaught can be a good mode. I think I liked it, but there needs to be maybe some rebalance of the points of where they are and how impactful they are. I understand that they center the gameplay in certain areas of the map, but maybe it goes a little bit too far. Map changes of Onslaught were really, really good though. The additions that they did. So I think there we need to think about it. Maybe go even further in the leaderboard to keep people playing. Rework the ELO difference system for sure. And yeah, more maps. We need more maps for Onslaught season, otherwise it gets repetitive rather quickly, which I think many other YouTubers, streamers also have said that, you know, there is not enough maps in it right now that make it, after like a while, a bit too repetitive. With qualification battles, I mean, I guess they just copy that from ranked, kind of. All right. Then Murney 13 returns. Personally, I mean, I wasn't really a fan of Murney. It's kind of mind-numbing for me, but I think many of you may like it and did like it and are going to be glad with the return. I mean, depends on how the event goes, depends on what they do. We'll have to see the details of it, but a positive thing, I guess. New map for Frontline. I mean, I don't really play Frontline, but I guess for the people that do, another map would be cool. I will say that this map looks really, really cool though. Like it looks really, really cool. This is one of my favorite parts. I love caves, I love tunnels. I've been a big fan of those for a long, long time, and I would love to see them use tunnels under maps. But I mean, I don't know why. Maybe it's not good gameplay wise, but I just love the aspect of like dynamic routes and tunnels and caves and different fighting areas, like a two-dimensional level. I love it. So I don't know, maybe this could go further into actual battles. I've seen the video on this map and I'm not too convinced about it because there's a lot of like really open space here that's not really playable. Then the beach, which I don't know if it's going to be really playable, and a lot of like area here that also I don't know if it's going to be playable, and a really heavy slugfest in between those hills there. We'll have to see how the gameplay goes on it. Not too convinced yet, but we'll see. I don't know if you saw this, but on Super Test they have actually announced a lot of different map changes. They've been on the forums already. You could have seen them. We also reviewed them on stream. Won't give them too much praise yet. Some of the reworks do hit the spot. For example, on Cliff and Steps, I think they're adding and removing things that were there before patch 1.0. So it's like, they're really just putting some things in that were already there but then removed. And on some maps, I feel like they're not really touching the points of the map. Like, for example, on Live Oaks, they're not touching the K-line, which I think is kind of the main issue of it. But we'll see. I mean, I'm glad that they're doing frequent map updates now, that they're changing them quite often. And as long as they stay on pace with them, because I think every map needs updating every once in a while because of the way that meta shifts and meta works. People start doing things which kind of breaks the map per se, but the gameplay on it. So you got to be quite frequent with those changes and tackle issues. And as long as they keep on top of that, it may be good. But at least they're changing maps, which is in general like a good thing. So a prestige system, which is kind of cool, I guess, gives people another reason to play and grind out their tanks. You get a badge with it apparently as well. All in all, seems like just another like thing to grind for, and people do love grinding things. They do love badges, they love shiny things. I mean, anything that gives more people more reason to play and grind out stuff. It depends on how the prestige system works as well. What do you get with the prestige system, if you get anything? How hard is it to get levels? But I think it's mainly about the rewards, right? That's in it. It's probably what everybody cares about. Improved crew system. I'll get back to this in a second. This is crew 2.0 in a different form. It's more of a gentle form. It seems like a lot of the weird skills that was in crew 2.0 got removed from it. All in all, it just seems like this is their new attempt at crew 2.0. After it got shelved, reworked, this seems to be what is the new way of it. They're not calling it crew 2.0, which is smart because it would have a negative sentiment with the community after the last crew 2.0 got shelved. We'll get back to this in a second because it's the most important part, I think. But anyways. All perks works at once. That's great. This is a great thing, by the way. This was one of the best things on the crew 2.0 when we had it, is that one crew works for 3 tanks, which means that you will no longer have a crew that is only functioning on one tank. Now you'll have a good crew for 3 tanks. And for a lot of players, myself included, I don't like making new crews, because like 1-2 skill crews, they're kind of especially when they're male crews. With bad training, it takes really long to get another good crew, so they move on to tier 10s. And I think for many of you as well, your good crews move on with the line unless you don't progress it. So having a crew that works for 3 tanks is amazing, because it means you can play the 8, you can play the 9, you can play the 10, or you can play the 7, the 8, and 9. But for me personally, I really, really like this, because it's such a quality of life thing that I can use one crew on 3 tanks. It doesn't really change much for them, but it does mean that I might be playing more tanks or buying back tanks that I haven't played in a while just because I don't have a crew for it. And that's just awesome. I mean, it's already making me think about buying back a load of tier 9s that I may want to play. So that's really, really awesome. Apparently turning crews into crew books, useless crews. I have many of them. I think many people have many crews that are quite useless or doing nothing, or came from a tank, an event, a premium tank or whatever, that you don't know anything to do with. So I mean, the final kill cam, I mean, looks cool, I guess. It's just a nice little thing. There's not much to say about it, except for that it might make you angry when you see that somebody hit your cupola from 500 meters to kill you. But, just a, I don't know, neat little thing, I guess. Vehicle rebalance. I don't know if they're going to be rebalancing the ones that are in the picture here. I would hope so, because there's a few good contenders there. I mean, E50M, the ARL 44, people told me, the Rhino, the Bat, the 110. I don't know which one this is anymore. Is that P1? I don't know which one that is. Centurion, I think. DVP VTU. I think that's a Type 4, T95, Rhino, Ba, AMX65T maybe, I think. And this is the 1-1, I think. So all in all, not bad. No, this is the TD, the tier 6 or tier 7 TD. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this means that these are the ones that are going to be rebalanced. But all of those could use some love, I would say. And yeah, I don't see an issue with it. I want frequent balances, balance updates, and balance throughout the game. We should have a new top end meta every 6 months, per se, where a tank, it's impossible to make everything a flat line, but you maybe nerf the top performer, something else becomes a top performer. Would love to see that. The only thing I'm missing in this is no Chief N279 nerf. Will it be worth it in 2023? God knows. I would love to see it be nerfed, mainly for the quality of life for advances and strongholds, which I know many of you don't care about. But I used to do. I don't play them anymore because they're just hella boring. It's the same tanks over and over and over. And the same tanks per se isn't the issue, but it's been the issue that it's been this for 2 years. And 2 years or 3 years is a little bit much for my liking. When a meta is like a 1 year is fine. It's always evolving and adapting different playstyles across the maps, but now it ain't that way anymore. Japanese heavies, Japanese TDs. Looks like it has a really big gun, pretty angled frontal plate. I don't know. New lines, it's always good for me. If they're based on something historically or not, I don't really care. They could suck the blueprint out of their thumb. I really don't care. I'm always a fan of new lines, new tanks to play, maybe new mechanics if they're interesting. All in all, a good thing. This, I don't know, we'll have to see. I don't know. I mean, all I can say is that the person that was testing this has keyhand aim, but it looks interesting with the degrees. Recon missions, new launches, good. Recon was awesome. And I love this. Night maps, I think many of us have been asking for so long for either weather effects or night maps. And on console, of course, they already have weather effects. And it seems like they're experimenting with night maps. Maybe that means we'll get weather effects as well. It would be awesome because weather effects, night maps, it can make a map you've played 1,000 times feel completely different. Just like you had Prokhorovka on fire, Rubenberg on fire, Winterberg, all those maps felt different because they were in different environments, at least to me. So I love that. I love that. Dynamic water, I'm not sure what maps this would really impact, to be honest. It sounds interesting. We'd have to see how it really works out and what kind of new terrain it creates. I can't really think of maps on the top of my head that would be affected by this too much. Like airfield, yes. Muro, like a little bit. Lakefill, if they would drain the lake, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Let me know if you think of another one that would add some playable terrain, because I'm not sure if I could think of any. This looks epic. I love dynamic objects. I used to play a lot of Battlefield, so I love destructible objects and such. Battlefield 3 was a game I put in a lot of hours, so a big fan of just like destruction physics in general. How well this is going to work out, I'm not sure, but it sure looks epic. The only downside is that I wish these dynamic objects only crashed into RD positions, but you know. Like these dynamic objects could be really, really cool. They could create new terrain. It depends if it's always the same one or it's different ones creating new parts of terrain and how it affects the tanks. Like what happens to the tanks that are below it. Because like, with different dynamic events, you get completely different scenarios, gameplay scenarios even. This looks like it's a bit much maybe, a full Zeppelin. Maybe a bit much. And then there's one more question if this is an Easter egg. Because this is like the NFT skin on the 780. And I personally think that they'll do the lion as an NFT sometime soon, but you never know. I think it might be one, but anyways, we'll have to see. And now this was for me the main part about the video, because crew skills are really, really important, as you may all know. And a lot of this also depends on how will they rework the experience needed, because this is a lot of extra skills, so they can't keep the current XP requirements. If they will, then most of this is useless. It's just speculating, but this is a bit of a theory crafting for you enjoyers out there. This is kind of a major change, because the crew system is one of the most old things in WorldofTanks. It's very, very old, and they tried to rework it with Crew 2.0, got shut down because of negative community feedback, and now I think they've come up with their new solution on how to do it. And I've shown you some examples here. You can read all the skills by yourself, but I'll go over the main ones. These are the group. This is for all the crew members. But then the specific ones, you can see which ones are updated. So for light tanks, we're just discussing light tanks. Recon stays pretty normal. But then we go to what is a new skill, practicality. And practicality reduces the consumable cooldown time by 15%. And that's kind of handy, especially on the light as well. You know, repair kit, med kit being back earlier, 15% off at 75 seconds instead of 90 seconds. So that's pretty cool. Now, on top of that, there's Eagle Eye. And Eagle Eye is kind of like Deadeye. Gives you also the module damage 5% when fully trained. And you can also see, as the Eagle Eye now, which nobody really uses, the broken modules in a tank, which can be interesting in a light to see when somebody's ammo racked, when they lost their commander, etc, etc. Then sound detection is decreasing the negative stun by 5%. It's really not much. It's not impactful enough to make a difference. If the minimum stun is 12 seconds and 10% negation is 1.2 seconds, 0.6 seconds. It's basically useless. So that's why I have it on 3-4. The numbers are the importance of the skills. Then Jack of all trades, I think, is still not important enough, even with the reducing the chance of commander injury. I personally don't think it's important enough yet that it makes a difference. Still, so I'm not going to be taking that. And then Mentor as lost, I still think that 15% for all crew members, because currently Mentor trains the least skilled crew member, is important enough still, to be honest. I don't think so. You may disagree. This is still theory crafting. This can all change, but I think it's important that we go over this already and give our quick thoughts and feedback on the new crew skills. Then Gunner, armor. And this is an important one, because this is a reduction of RNG, plus minus 20. So you get less high rolls, but you also get less low rolls. In general, the moments where high rolls save you are not that high, in my opinion, to warrant keeping a higher spread towards it, because low rolls are usually more impactful. Because when I look at a tank and he's 370 HP, for example, at 400 alpha, I rather, you know, I will peek and shoot him. And I'd rather have less chance of low rolling than I do about high rolling. I don't peek somebody and hope for the high roll. I peek somebody and hope for the average roll. So for my opinion there, that's a pretty important skill. Really important, actually. Then designated target for lights, pretty standard. Then Deadeye is the third fourth, and snapshot. Concentration and quick aiming are new. I still don't think that they're important enough for lights that you would go for it, because reducing the dispersion of a stationary vehicle to now been fully trained, you would have to be fully stationary and aiming, and 2.5%. Again, I don't feel like it's that much. And then quickly aiming improves aiming time by 2.5% when fully trained. I mean, I don't really, you know, think that makes a big difference either. You can disagree with me. Then we go on towards the driver. And then we go for lights. Increases engine power by 5%, adding 1 creep. Well, extra engine power and forward speed is always nice to get into position quicker, run away faster. Engine power is nice. It's overall just nice. Then smooth ride is the second most important off-road for me. Then I go for preventive maintenance, because why not? Because I don't think the rest is more important. Although you could switch between a preventive and clutch, kind of depends. This could both be 4-5, and then controlled impact as last. The driver still not really getting too many useful skills anymore. Then we move over towards the loader, and there I think that Shell tuning is actually really important. Increases the lower threshold of damage, dispersion, and armor penetration by 2% when fully trained. The lower threshold is on the left-hand side of damage, dispersion, and armor penetration. This is again a reduction of RNG towards the middle, which again we go for consistency. So that is just another reduction of RNG there. And it's weird that the reduction of RNG actually comes from crew skills. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet, because like, they don't want to reduce RNG, but then you have crew skills that do it for you. So I mean, we have to discuss about it more. I just wanted to run through my thoughts here, already like write down which skills are good, which are important to watch out for. The RNG ones are definitely ones to pay attention to, close attention to what they do with them if they keep them that way. Then intuition, I think we all understand intuition is the way it is. Gorilla, I have it as number 3 here. This is concealment after a shot and concealment behind vegetation by 2%. Extra camo when shooting and concealment behind vegetation 2%. It's also nice to have. I still don't value it more than intuition on a Lito because, you want to switch targets. Then safe storage is 4th for me because this close combat skill, it's new. But fully trained gun loading, 2.5% distance of 50 meters. 50 meters is extremely close range. It really is that close range that I don't think it matters, to be honest. Then we move over to safe storage as the 4th one. And then close combat is 5th and adrenaline is 6th. And then we move over to the radio operator situational awareness, pretty standard there to get the extra view range. And then it was an interesting one, teamwork. And this teamwork is actually a very good and powerful skill, which we still need to see if they go through with it this way for heavies. Not as much for lights, because it increases your major qualifications by 5% when within 100 meters. And in a lot of times with lights, you're not really within 100 meters of somebody because you're spotting ahead. So it's like iffy in that regard. And then I have comms expert. This is a good one for lights though. You get a bonus to your major qualifications when you get the same amount of assist as your standard durability. Now this is not such a good skill on heavies. It's a really good skill on lights because lower age people. So you get another boost to your major qualifications. If you then have teamwork as well, that is, you get the 5%, the 2.5%, you have BIA food. It really starts stacking up really quickly. And here's an interesting one. Firefighting is not a group skill, which is for, every single crew member, but it's just a radio operator skill. Now, firefighting in general is something I don't train because there's many more useful skills. But when the radio operator has it, I might start taking it. However, again, it feels like this radio operator gets a bunch of good or decent skills that I'm not going to be taking it because comms expert and teamwork are really cool. Situational awareness is very standard. And then I'm left with firefighting if I ever get there. Then jamming is the next one. And Call for Vengeance, the 6th one. Then for heavies, I also have this one here. It doesn't really change much. Recon, practicality, sound detection, eagle eye, mentor, jack of all trades, it all stays the same. I have armor again, RNG reduction, snapshot for heavies, then dead eye, then again concentration, quick aiming, designated target. Nothing changes there really. I have engineer again as the top skill, then smooth ride, off road, preventive maintenance, and clutch braking. You could still switch those around, control them back. Nothing really changing there whatsoever. Then for heavies, I would start off with intuition or shell tuning. Between those two, gorilla is the least important one. That's the only thing that really changes. Then safe storage, then close combat, then adrenaline rush, and gorilla as last one because it doesn't really make a difference. Then on heavies, I have teamwork as number 1 because it's super important. You're always within 100 meters of an allied vehicle, so you always get a 5% boost. That's half of food already, which is really good for your heavy to get another boost. Then I have situational awareness as 2nd and 3rd, and then there we actually have, maybe I might get firefighting now because I only have it on the radio operator. Then jamming, Call of Vengeance, and the 6th skill being the comms expert. I think this crew rework is a really important part of it that we need to pay attention to it. I felt like running through my thoughts real quickly, what would be important, what to watch out for, and I think the RNG skills are the ones where you really gotta the major qualification ones are really powerful I think Gorilla can be pretty powerful for lights as well, and the RNG ones. Those are the ones for me to watch out for there, because those could be pretty impactful. Others of them, the new ones, don't seem that useful, don't seem to do too much. But this could be, you know, having more skills here already benefited you, but not to this extent, because, you know, light for light, if you get the if you have the teamwork skill and the guerrilla skill and the comms expert skill, those are going to start like really, you know, widening the gap between you. So that's what I was thinking about the crew skills. Overall, what they have said is a lot of promises. We got to see them deliver upon it. Did it look awesome? Hell yeah, it did. It looked really good. I liked a lot of stuff from it. Map reworks, vehicle rebalance, the dynamic effects, night maps, onslaught return. What else was there? The water thing looks pretty cool as well. The kill cam looks pretty cool. So all in all, really good things that they have shown. The execution of it depends with this crew system as well. It's too early to talk. Wanted to run through it, which skills are really important. Hope you enjoyed this more informative video, and I'll see you guys all in the very next one. Thank you for watching. Peace.